Good morning, YouTube. This is GTN Rider coming in from Bengaluru. And we're going to be doing a first impression video of the Duke 250. And unlike the other first impression videos, I'm going to be pointing out the 5 likes and 5 dislikes about this bike. Oh, and FYI, I'm running a slightly different mic setup for this particular vlog because I've had some issues with my external mic that I use regularly. So kindly excuse the voice quality if it's not up to the usual standards. So with that having said, let's move on to the first impressions. So I'm going to start off with the bits that I like in the Duke. Then we'll go over some points that I'm particularly not a big fan of. Alright? So the very first thing that I love about the new Duke 250 is its relative refinement when it is in comparison with the older BS3 version. Yes, it is still rough under 4000 RPM, but once you go past that, it's beautifully smooth. It revs quite nicely, and it's a joy to ride, honestly. Which brings us to the second point that I love about this bike, which is the fact that it revs beautifully. It's not at all shy doing the high revs and staying there. In fact, it acts a little temperamental if you don't keep it above 4000 RPM. So in that sense, if you are like aggressive rider who likes to ride fast, this is just the perfect bike for you because it just begs you to keep pushing it all the time. For some of the more mature and seasoned riders, that may be a little tiring, but yeah, for a guy who's just in college and who loves to explore their riding skills, yeah, I understand why Duke is such a big hit with all the young crowd, because it's just egging to go all the time. Point number 3 that I love about the Duke 250 is its lightness and nimbleness. It's so freaking razor sharp, so easy to chuck around. It's a hoot to drive. It's an absolute hooligan. Even though it doesn't have all the power that you might expect, it's definitely not lacking on the fun factor. It's absolutely fun to ride around because it's so light and nimble and agile. Point number 4 that I like about the bike is its plush seat. The seat is wide and well cushioned, not too soft, not too hard. And that is true even for the passenger seat as well. You can actually do some decent two-up riding on this without the passenger feeling that he's getting tortured. And the 5th point about the Duke is, of course, the looks. Usually loud graphics and bold colors are not my cup of tea. But, again, you have to look at it from a perspective of a young rider who's buying this as his first bike, who's probably in college. So this would absolutely be a perfect bike to kind of show off. It looks wild, it looks crazy, all the stickering and graphics, it just screams, look at me, With the tail tidy and a little bit of cleaning up, this can absolutely look killer. Okay, now that we've gone through some of the good bits, let's move on to some of the bits that I'm particularly not a big fan of on the Duke 250. Point number 1 is the riding position. And I'm not talking about only the 250, it's the 200, 390s and everything. So I've never been a fan of the way you sit on it. Whenever you're doing hard braking, I feel as if I'm going to be sliding off the bike, which is not a good thing for me. So again, it's my opinion, don't give me hate for it. Point number 2 is the refinement of the engine under 4000 RPM. I know I mentioned this as a point that I like on the Duke, but it's only after 4000 RPM. Under 4000 RPM, the throttle response is kind of dull, and there is this annoying flat spot between 4000 and 5000 RPM where the bike kind of struggles to go forward in any gear. I don't know if it's a problem with only this particular bike, which could be the case because it's a rental bike, So I need confirmation from you guys. So if any of you Duke 250 owners are watching this video, do comment in the comment section below if you also have the same flat spot between 4 and 5,000 RPM. The fueling is not very precise under 4,000 RPM, and it does give you a fair bit of jerkiness. But after 4,000 RPM, it settles down and it's beautiful to ride. The fueling is perfect, and you can dial in the throttle precisely. Point number 3 that I don't like are the brakes, because there's not enough bite or stopping power coming from the brakes. Sure, it's going to stop your bike, but you know, in case of, I'm talking about panic braking, where it's observed to be inadequate. Point number 4 that I'm not a big fan of on this particular bike is the quality of switchgear, and the indicator switch in particular feels absolutely flimsy, and to a point that I am scared that I might actually break it. You know, it feels that flimsy. The last point that I don't like about this Duke 250 is the quality and fit and finish on the long run. This is a rental bike, and that could explain some of the rattling and the noise coming from the bike, but still, the bike has done only 20,000 kilometers on the odo, so it shouldn't be this bad. So I have a little doubts on its build quality and fit and finish on the long run. Again, if Duke 250 owners are watching this video, do let me know in the comment section about what you think. So that's my first impression video of the Duke 250. If you like this video, go ahead, click on the like button, share it with your friends, comment on what you thought about the video, and if you haven't already, do subscribe to my channel. This is GTN Rider signing off. Peace.